Debbie with Cultural Alignment Solutions, and I want to welcome you to the Expansion Factor podcast. And today we have DC Surface. I'm super excited that he is with us today. He is the North Georgia, it's manager, right, of commercial controls.
Correct. Yes.
And I have worked with DC. Yes, I have worked with DC for several years. He's also the founder, I have to throw this in, DC, for you, of Airplane Partnerships Group. And it is a Facebook group. And I will let you tell how many followers you have. How many followers do you have?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited to be here and talking to you today and doing this podcast with you. But we just crossed over 47,000 members in our Facebook group for Airplane Partnerships Group. And I just got back from Sun and Fun last week where I was lucky enough to get a forum gig to actually do some education stuff on airplane partnerships. And so that went very well. And so I've got a YouTube channel and posted those videos up on the YouTube channel. And so that's really exciting. Exciting stuff.
Talk about expansion. Yeah, you go from what? You starting a Facebook group to 47,000 people. What kind of reach is that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, but it took 9 years to get there, so that wasn't no overnight thing. But anyway, we're excited about it because all the people that came to Sun and Fun, which for those that don't know, that's a air show down in Lakeland, Florida. It's probably the second biggest air show in the country. And it's kind of the spring fling for air shows, if you will. Everybody's kind of getting their airplanes out of the hangars and knocking the dust and cobwebs off of it and flying to Central Florida to participate in the air show events and stuff like that that's going on. And everybody that came through, most of them were pilots, people looking for airplane partnerships, which I'm a huge advocate of. And none of them knew about the Facebook group. So I'm like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
you sign up, please. And
Yeah,
most
so
of
what
them,
does
if
that
not
tell
all
you?
of them, did.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
so it's pretty cool. So on top of my job here as manager of commercial controls group here in North Georgia, just around the Atlanta area and stuff. I kind of have dove into the social media side of things, if you will, and trying to get that going. So that's one of my side things. And thanks to you and all your coaching and everything else I've been through and my expansion and stuff, I've you know, have been able to do this. So it's been exciting. It's been good. So I'm looking forward to it.
That is exciting. That is the whole purpose of this particular podcast is literally just talking to different people that have chosen to expand in their life regardless of where you're at in life, the stage that you're at in life, and what does that expansion look like, because you're expanding, right? You've heard me say it. You're expanding. It's what are you expanding, right?
Yeah.
And so I want you to share, you've got a lot of things happening in your life this year, which one is a huge one, which is what, retirement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Retirement from this job anyway. So
yes.
retirement's really not in my blood, I don't think. I'll always be doing something, but
Yeah.
I've been in this industry a little over 40 years and I think it's probably time to go on and do something else. But so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Kind of cutting back a little bit, if you will. Maybe not so
Yeah.
much 40 hours a week or
Mhm.
60 or whatever the number is.
Yeah, whatever. It depends, right?
Yeah,
Whatever week it is and whatever needs to be
yeah,
done. So, as you think of expansion, right? So, we think of expanding and expanding our lives. What are some things as you think back over your life and some of the things that you've accomplished, some of the things maybe that you wanted to accomplish that didn't turn out like you wanted it to, or even those that did went above and beyond what you expected in turning out? But when you think about all of that wrapped up into the form of expansion, what are some key points that DC does to literally get into a mindset of just that life is for you, not against you, and making those choices? What are some habits, what are some things that you do in your life every single day that keep you grounded and in that mindset?
yeah. Well, I certainly try to express gratitude every day and be thankful for many, many different things throughout the day. And sometimes I have to remind myself to do that and what I'm thankful for, but I truly am blessed. And that's really um, one of my big core values. And one of the things that I try to practice and do every day is just be thankful. And that being said, I think one of the best things that I've ever done is really sit down and figure out what my core values are. And I try to talk to a lot of different people. And even if you go through the exercise of figuring out what they are, you don't really look at them on a daily basis and you don't really think about them too much until something happens into your life. I mean, you might have a little setback, you might have a little level one energy, if you will, you might have a little whatever happens. And I've grown and tried to come back to my core values to figure out why I feel the way that I feel and what can I do to snap myself out of this. And I actually learned this from you because I was very, very frustrated over something one day. I forget what it was now. And you asked me that simple question. And it hit me like a sledgehammer at that particular point in time. You asked me that simple question, like, what are your core values? What is your number one core value? And I'll be honest, we went through this exercise many times, and I've spent a lot of time looking at it because you put a bunch of words down and thoughts, and you go through that, and you throw those out, and you put a bunch more down. You go through and you whittle, whittle, whittle until finally you go like, that's it. That's me. And that day that I could not answer that question was, like I said, big sledgehammer in the face, to where like, wow, because I dug back through my notes and I found that my number one core value was achievement. And when I read that word, it just all fell in place. I mean, that's why I was frustrated. I understood a lot about the other person that I was dealing with at that particular point in time. And it just brought this kind of peace and calm about the whole thing that, hey, I finally figured this thing out. And then I started going back through the core values for everything, and it just all falls in place because my top five core values is achievement and confidence and courage and freedom and gratitude. And I have been practicing the gratitude, but when I saw it written down, I'm like, when did I write that down? Seriously? And that was my top five. I'm like, wow, okay. It all just made sense. And we have a junior leader here within our group, and he's going through the Elevate program and stuff. And I told him, I said, look, out of all the things I've been through throughout my career, all the management programs, the schools, everything else, um, you can look at my shelf back here, and most of those books are sitting on that shelf with the notes and the workbook, right? And implementing them just really never happened. You'd get some nuggets and stuff out of it, but just implementing the process or the system or whatever it was just really never happened. And for this, it just hit home with me. And I told him, I said, look, don't ever put this on a shelf. Learn what they are, memorize them, look at them like daily if you have to for the rest of your life. And you will figure out that stuff, like you said, life happens for you, not to you. And when you look at everything and how it lines up, when life is happening for you, it falls within that core value, that set of core values. And that is all powerful, um, guides me, and I just really can tie those five words into just about everything I do every day. And like I said, when I get frustrated and stuff like that, it's like I go back to that and wow, okay, I understand. I understand what's going on. So that's my biggest expansion right there. And the fact that, one of my words was courage, and I really tried to find out, what that is. And that's really um, fear in motion, if you will, or overcoming fear. So courage is just that controlling of fear. to get out of your comfort zone to do something, and you're never going to push your limits. You're never going to do anything, I don't think worthwhile, even within yourself, unless you're pushing those limits. Just like, taking classes, doing stuff you want to learn. Just like me stepping out, doing airplane partnerships group. That
Mhm.
was a lot of courage, to be honest, but especially at my age. I'm ready to retire. And I'm like, well, I don't know. But to be honest about it, it's been, a lifelong dream to place myself within that industry somewhere. And to be honest about it, that came to fruition, last week. I mean, I stood on in the classrooms and the stages where a lot of great industry people have been and everything. And I got a little nick, just a little bit of nick of it, not much, but it was a start. So hopefully I can grow from there and go. So, but
What was
but
one of your biggest takeaways from that experience?
I think just the fact that I could overcome a fear of it. I mean, there might have been even a little bit of
Mm.
an imposter syndrome going on, although I have a lot of experience. That was just, again, doubt, so that comes back to one of my core values of confidence, just having the confidence in myself going like, hey, you can do this you can do this better than anybody else. And it was just overcoming that fear to pull the trigger on it and make it happen. And I mean, my goodness, we have a book that we just published and released, and just a lot of wonderful things, on the horizon and stuff for that. So, as I wind one career down, I actually am looking forward to cranking another one up. And but it all again, ties back into this, and it's like, um, having purpose, having meaningful work, finding out, what your purpose is, in life. And I think really people just need to sit down and become very, very, very clear on what that is. And I'll be real honest with you. I mean, I'm 66 years old, getting ready to retire from this career and stuff. And I can't honestly say, that I found, what I've always been looking for my entire life, but it's been a rewarding, satisfying career. But I look back with a little bit of regret, going like, why couldn't I have figured this purpose out a long time ago and pursued that, you know,
Yeah,
um, more than what I did. So,
yeah,
but I think that's key, like purpose. It's just it's like, what is that meaningful work? I don't think that anybody can just stop. We're geared to work, and that's the way our minds operate. And I think that's just a very important thing. So you might as well do work that makes sense to you and gives you purpose, get you out of bed in the morning, and get you motivated and get you going.
yeah, yeah. So you hang with me here because you brought something up and you said the comment you said was, it might not be exactly what it is, that I totally set out in the beginning or something like that to do. But yet that it brings you fulfillment right now, right? And it brings you that
Hmm.
achievement piece. Think about that just for a minute. So think about what you've accomplished with Airplane Partnerships Group, what you've done in your career, um, becoming a pilot, what do you have? You have a motorcycle. I mean, there's things, right, that you've done and goals and things throughout your life that you've gone to and you've accomplished. If you were to capture in your mind, meaning there are no limits here, and you absolutely cannot make a mistake, and you can go as far out as you can go. Capture in your mind, and then let me know when you've captured it. Like one of the biggest goals. If I could accomplish this, I will have reached everything I've wanted to reach. Can you get that in your head?
Yeah,
You have
I
it?
think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
it. Okay, hold that for a second. Okay, now that you have that in your head, go with me to the next step and just really allow yourself to go, what am I feeling right now? So if you could pick, let's say, one word, emotional word, the biggest feeling word that you can have, what would that word be that you would be feeling if you reached that goal right now?
For me, that word would be elation.
Elation.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And
What
if
does
you want another
elation
word,
mean to you? Yeah, go
well,
ahead. What's
just
another one?
and the other word would be freedom, which again just
Okay.
ties back into my core values. And
Yeah.
when I say freedom, I mean there's so many definitions of freedom, and everybody's would be a little bit different. I would be if I could knew I couldn't miss, and I achieved my goals. I would have that elation, that freedom. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm wealthy, but
Hmm.
I would certainly be emotional wealthy, right?
Hmm.
And that counts probably more than money in life, I think. But I just think that that freedom comes from because now, if I was achieving all my goals and stuff, first of all, I would have that purpose. I would have that drive. I would have here's why I get up in the morning. Here's what drives me. Here's what I like to talk about
Yeah.
throughout the day to friends. I like to surround myself with people that have a common interest in stuff, and and that would bring the freedom to me. Uh, Not necessarily so much maybe how much you make or anything like that, but I think that that would probably come along with it as well. And just the freedom to choose. Just
Yeah.
sometimes um, that's huge, that's big, that's again comes back to purposes. Like I wish if I could just wish everything the best for everybody out there listening, it would be like that you find that, and you find that early in life as opposed to later in life, and
Yeah.
you just go with a vengeance after it, because whatever you expand on or whatever you focus on expands. And
Hmm.
I think that if you're lucky enough to find out what that is early on in life, then you will have a fulfilled, rewarding life of freedom,
Yeah.
to be honest about it. And then that comes back
Yep.
around to being thankful, having the gratitude for all of it.
Hmm.
So,
Yep. I do this exercise a lot, and I have people do that because nine times out of ten, if I ask you, and if you want to share, fine. I know we're on a podcast, and I could bleep it out if we had to, if you don't want it to go public. But what might your goal be? What is your goal?
um, what my goal like today is really to get through to my retirement date where
Hmm.
there's no stress, no anxiety, no depression. And to be honest about it, when you get this age and you start looking at that, that's another scary milestone, right? I mean, scary
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen. Um, but I think it would be getting from here, which is December 31st of this year, getting from here to there without the anxiety and the stress. And I've never really been depressed, although I think everybody has that feeling some form or fashion. I guess Monday morning blues could be a form of depression, right? If you get
Yeah,
that, because you hate to go
absolutely.
back to work every week. But I think if I can get there, then my goal really is to be able to have the time to spend more or less doing some of the things that I want to do, but then really having purpose with like the airplane partnership group to really concrete that in the industry where I bring value and benefit to people that are looking to go down this path to what I call affordable airplane ownership. And that's really reaching out to the person that thinks it's out of their reach, and
Mhm.
I want to just make them aware and educate them that it's probably not. Um, but that would be my big, hairy, audacious goal, if you
Gosh,
will,
goal.
is
All
to
right.
is to put that on the map and be respected for it in the community. the
Yeah.
aviation community, and do it proud. I have 5 grandkids, and I would love for them to someday and look at, hey, this is what G Dad helped put together and did someday. So yeah, so that's my big goal right now.
All right. Well, let me put the bow on the box for you. You want to hear it?
Sure.
So, yeah, so a lot of people put there, and you literally just took us full circle. So I appreciate that. And that's why I've loved working with you so much over the years. A lot of people put the transactional thing as their goal, right? I have heard from get my master's degree, be debt free, have the ideal job. I've done this for years and years and years, and it's always around a thing. And
Right.
what's so beautiful, and you literally just did it as I've sat here and listened, your goal is not the thing. Your goal actually is the feeling. It is
Yeah.
the core value. That's why I wrap this back around for you because it's freedom. That's actually your goal. And when we
Yeah.
can start realizing that that's our goal, why would you wait till December to have that freedom when you could have it now? Or why would you wait, 5 years before I've got a plan to
Yeah.
be debt free for 5 years. And it's like, do you really want to wait that long to feel that sense of freedom? And I love doing this practice because when you go, whoa, wait a minute, this is my goal, there will always be another thing, but you're still seeking the same thing in the thing.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yep.
sense?
It does.
Yeah, so how
Absolutely.
do you expand? Yeah, and it was what was really cool as you were saying it, you were like, "Oh, and I want to, give these people the chance to reach their goals with airplane partnerships of owning their own plane." Well, guess what? You want them to have the freedom of having, right? And then
Right.
you're like, "I want my grandkids to experience this." Well, you want your family to have the freedom and the happiness of being able to experience what it is you bring. So,
Yeah.
again, it just takes core values and the reason for knowing those, actually
Yeah.
your goal, everything you want in your life is right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
When you go through
I
the work to
appreciate you.
get there, right?
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that because again, I always learn something from you, right? And yeah, so if you flip it around and it's like instead of the thing, it's the experience, right? And you hear so many, I mean,
Yep.
that's like the trend right now. It's like, oh, we give up on the Christmas gifts and the birthday presents and all the stuff there. And we're flipping that to like, we just want to experience things. We want the
Yep.
experience of different things, whether it be traveling or parachuting out of an airplane or flying an airplane for the first time. Who knows what that is to everybody? But yeah,
Yep.
and I'm kind of I'm a little bit slow going on it right now. It's still, yeah, that is my goal, but I still kind of old school where I have a loyalty and an obligation here to not go on autopilot and
Right.
cruise here with my job here. I've never done that, and certainly not about to start now. So I finish this out and then I start that other one up. But
That's it. And
I
it's freedom, 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 right?
freedom,
How do you
freedom.
stay in the
Yeah,
yeah, you stay in the freedom now while fulfilling who you are. That gives you the freedom of being who you are. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
expansion when you can
yeah,
expand to that.
yeah, and I think too, Debbie, I I'll probably like to talk just a minute about when you talk about fear and stuff like that. I had a real hard time. Of course, like I said, at my age, I'm old school, and
Mhm.
this thing hit back in March of 2020 that turned the whole world on its end, tipped it, if you will, and things changed. COVID went from 2020 to 2023. I think May of 23 is when they declared it officially over with, and things weren't the same after that. I mean, and I really had to sit down and spend a lot more time digging in, trying to figure out, how does this change affect me, and how does it affect everybody around me? I'm certainly not the only one that went through it. Everybody in the world went through it, right? But your perception and how you handle that is different for everybody. And I think this expansion and a lot of the exercises and stuff I've gone through, just the sheer finding out what my core values and stuff really was probably driven from that because that was a little bit scary. There was a whole lot of uncertainty around what was going on, and maybe even still a little bit, maybe a lot of it of uncertainty right now because the workforce has changed, and the way people their attitudes towards working and having relationships and different things like that has all changed a little bit, and that's really kind of like what drove me to dig a little deeper, find out, not give up, just say, hey, there's something else out there for me, um, and just move forward with finding out what that is. And I'm very comfortable that today I know and know what I want to do, know where I want to go, in a lot of different things, and I also know that I'm not static in all of that. Right? It's
Mhm.
going to change. It's just going to be something that is constantly changing. And I look forward to that too. I've never been one to, you know, be afraid of change. I like pushing buttons and turning knobs and pulling levers on things to the point where let's make something different happen here. But that's really was a eye opener for me and something that really pushed me a little bit further, to get a little bit further out of my comfort zone and stuff, if you will. Not only that, but the best money that people can spend truly is investing in themselves. And I listen to a ton of podcasts out there. And one of the common threads through a lot of the top podcasters and stuff out there is they've been coached or they are a coach. Most of them are a coach to somebody out there. And that was the common thread with all that. And I mean, you've been my coach for a number of years now. And I think that's just value add. And people really need to look at that and go like, well, yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I can either trot along here or I can invest money in myself, which is really the first thing that you should do. Everybody hears of to become a master, something takes 10,000 hours. Well, to learn something takes a minimum of 20 hours if you just want to really learn
Yep.
something. And not very many people just spend the 20 hours doing anything to
Mhm.
further educate themselves or to learn something about themselves or to figure out, you know, what is my purpose? What am I
Yep.
doing here? And how can I be a better person? And how can I move forward with all that?
Yep.
So,
That's right.
uh, again, comes back down to the core values. I'm a believer in lifelong learning, always have been. Like I say, I listen to a ton of podcasts and I haven't listened to music. I like to listen to music, but I haven't listened. I have an hour and 10 minute commute one way every day. So that's 2 hours and 20 to 30 minutes in a car. And it's 100% listening to podcasts, trying to learn about different things. And I have a whole, you know, assortment of podcasts and stuff that I listen to,
Yeah.
from history to business to investing to just you name it, coaching, whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. And I just love it. I mean, and that's just me.
Well, DC, I thank you so much for being here today. You have a wealth of knowledge. I always learn from you too. You always have something a little nugget or something to give me that makes me go, hmm. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it very much, you being here and being a part of this
Yeah.
experience, helping me learn and grow as I'm learning to put this together and expand myself. So
Yeah.
yes. And so, a couple things I want to wrap up. You have a website for your book for Airplane Partnerships Group. Do you want to give that website really quick where people
Yeah.
can go?
That website is airplane partnerships with an S group.com. And also you can go to YouTube if you want to look at that. That's at Airplane Partnerships Group. And then we also have an email. Somebody wants to reach out and ask more questions about that and how we did that and how we got where we're at with it. That's airplanepartnershipsgroup at gmail.com. And
Absolutely.
be more than glad to talk to anybody about that. Love talking about airplanes and stuff. And with that
And if
said,
they have a
also,
plane, they can join the Facebook group, right? At Airplane
yeah,
Partnerships.
exactly, exactly. There's a
So,
ton of educational stuff going on within the Facebook group itself.
yes.
But I just want to say thank you too to everything you've done for me, um, and it's just been a great ride, and I just look forward to everything moving in the future and everything that I've learned and stuff. And it's been an honor being on your podcast and stuff here today,
Oh,
sharing this time with you. So
thank you.
I
Thank
thank
you.
you for that.
I do want to ask you really quick. I think it's only appropriate that we coach. If you know it by heart, how do you close out your videos on YouTube? Do you know that by heart?
I'm just going to say blue skies.
Okay, there you go. They got to watch the YouTube to get it, but I love
You got
it.
to
All
watch it to
right.
see it. Yeah, it's really funny. I got a mental block on that, and
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying because it's like a paragraph long, all right. And when I
Yeah, but I
started
love
that,
it.
I'm like, well, I thought I could just learn it real quick, and I should by now. But
Ah, that means we got a lot more
it
videos to do, so you can get it
yeah,
in.
it talks about your spirits being your attitude being as high as your spirits and stuff, but basically all about being blue
That's it.
skies in everything that you do.
Blue
So
skies.
yeah, and
Yes.
tailwinds, right?
Yep. All right. Well, thank you very much, DC, for being here.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.